Hey everyone, my name is Levi, or as I go by in Apex Legends, Loopy. Today I want to do a level analysis or two level analysis of Apex Legends. Apex Legends is a multiplayer first-person battle royale shooter game developed by Respawn Entertainment, and it is set in the popular Titanfall universe, which is a first-person game that Respawn has developed for several years, and now they're currently focusing on the live service game Apex Legends. Apex sets itself apart from other BRs or battle royales by having legends with unique and game-changing abilities that shape various playstyles that players or individuals might have when playing this game. So the first thing I want to do is I want to load into what is the firing range. This is essentially what a player would, if they first create an account, what they would have to do is go through the tutorial. The tutorial in this game is actually kind of long and is kind of drawn out. So what I want to do is just load in real quick and show you just kind of like what the tutorial for Apex Legends would introduce to you and what you can do with it. Different kind of playstyles and maybe even a couple of the legends. So the first thing you see is this kind of narrow like entryway, and as you run out here, you're first hit with this huge hill. And the first thing Apex asks you to do is basically slide down this hill. In Apex Legends, the movement is basically super important. Everything you do in Apex is kind of like evading the enemy, sliding around. These are all super important things. And so what the tutorial does is that just kind of gives you a playground. Like this, the firing range is basically a playground for you to do all these things. Grab weapons, they're all right there in front of you. And you do a quick shot real quick. It just kind of engages you in what to expect in Apex Legends. There's a lot of zip lines in Apex Legends, so this just gives you a quick zip action of that. And then you can do some quick movement skills like, wall bouncing or tab strafing, stuff like that. So this is what I like about the Apex Legends tutorial. Is it basically is just super simple, it's clean, it presents all of the loot, all the information that you need, and gives you the ability to switch between different characters that you'll be able to play within the game, which we are going to go ahead and load into right now. So there are going to be some key terms that I'm probably going to talk about, and I don't want to get anyone confused. And so POI is a point of interest. LOS stands for line of sight, and RNG is essentially random, but it stands for random number generator. But essentially anything in the game that is random and like not predictable by the players. So currently, as we are loading in, I am going to go ahead and away from this. I've got some paid actors with me to help me run this private lobby. This private lobby is going to give me access to the brand new map Stormpoint, which just came out in Apex Legends. This is a new and interesting take on the game of Apex Legends, and it really shows the designers, the level designers and the developers attention to detail, and crafting an experience that is fun for Apex players, as well as something that's understanding of the community and what is developed as Apex has released more interesting and unique legends that have given us the ability to like fly all over the map. Legends that give us the ability to teleport through space-time continuums. There's just so many different options with legends, and there's even legends that give you the ability to be more defensive. And so, loading into this map, I'm going to showcase some of the things that these developers have given us. Now, Apex Legends is a battle royale, and that means that the overall goal of the game, and when you load into this map, is to be the last squad standing and be the last player standing. And so when that happens, you win the game. But there's a lot of other factors that are involved in this, such as like coming into an area where you're not frequent with, or various environmental factors of someone has high ground, or your opponents, they are just better than you, or they utilize these things better parts of the level. So with Apex being a multiplayer game, the level is open world. It's non-linear. There's really no goal except for just to win the game. So the level designer's job, they're got to create this fun and fair environment that's also entertaining and interactive with the different various legends. So like as we first come into this game, we get this like amazing look at this beautiful island. This is Storm Point, and this is our first look at the map. As we can see here, there are all these POIs, points of interest. Now, the great thing about Storm Point is that the design and structure of it keeps people. Well, obviously, if someone lands on top of you, you immediately have to fight. But the way this map is built is that it gives you the ability to land here and sort of be isolated from other teams. There are currently 18 POIs here, and there are 20 teams in the game of Apex Legends. So this gives 18 teams their own individual areas to land, which also give them plenty of space to get out and to loot and to explore the different areas of the map. Since Apex is basically a sci-fi game, it's not necessarily based on too much historical design and thought process, but there are quite a lot of modern and even present-day designs that are available in this game, or that you're just able to explore. Like this thatch roof dome over here is kind of reminiscent of Star Wars. This reminds me of a place on Tatooine. This is just kind of taken from, other places in sci-fi. There's the archway, open archway, and just like the windmill even is something that, like we've seen in history and that are a part of, like our everyday lives. In this game, whenever you first land, the first thing that you need to do is you need to loot up, right? And every single one of these buildings is full of loot. There's loot crates over here that are sparsely spread out. So, when you first land on these POIs, you're not necessarily stuck to getting loot, stuck to one spot to where you can get loot. Like, it happens all over throughout the map. There are also these unique areas here where if you needed to loot up, if you're not fighting someone, you can actually come and kill some of these PvE, these what they're called as prowlers, and they will actually like chase you down. This is like a very Jurassic Park like scene where if you come in this area, these guys will hunt you down, but whenever you kill them, you receive loot such as ammo attachments. It's all like really amazing, awesome things that you can get from these, and it's just to take you away from the monotonous like fighting all the time to get looted up, because that's the overall goal, is to get looted and to get to the end of the game with the best loot, fight the teams, and win. Another thing is just kind of like how the interiors of Apex are designed. They're not straight lines. Especially in this game, it's a lot about utilizing cover. Whenever you're fighting, you want to like go behind or flank someone. You could come this way. As you can see, if someone was pushed up right there, you would have a shot on them. But also, it keeps the engagements fun, especially if you're playing a defensive character. You could set your traps right here, or you could set up like a shield wall or a bubble or something, just to separate yourself from the enemy. Another thing is this map is massive. It is insanely huge. And a lot of the sight lines and lines of sight are extremely open, but what the level designers have done is taken great attention to detail of basically making some of these sight lines blocked. So no matter what, if you're up on this rock right here, you could see everything in front of you, but there's buildings, there's trees, there's other rocks that are in your way that prevent you from seeing what else is around the map. Another thing that Apex kind of likes to do is provide like these really massive massive areas for players to fight and to kind of like loot up. These would be what would be considered like a hub, or like a hot drop essentially, and all of the players would drop here, and there's all these unique little areas to get into, all these buildings, right? And these buildings have loot, unique stuff in here, but also they give defensive characters uniquely have ability to block these doors, which all of those red doors are on every single building in this game, and they're actually destroyable. So the level designers consistently use the same kinds of designs and doorways and stuff to that it's familiar. Like this red door, that is a door that you can blow up. So now we're gonna move on to some other things. Up here we can see that there are some more like sight lines and stuff that are not. Oops. Ooh, got a little crazy there. Some other sight lines that are not uniquely like pushable. Like if you wanted to get like right here, it would just be really, really hard to push up if you had absolutely no cover. But what this does is it provides you many angles of approach. Instead of going straight up this hill, you could actually maybe rotate through one of these little nooks and crannies to get up to a team that's potentially fighting up here. Now, Apex Legends is a multiplayer game, and although there isn't necessarily a story, the game does have lore, and the lore follows the Titanfall universe. And while there isn't really any story-specific events, what the game does is it introduces lore in a unique way where characters in comics or something like that can talk about things and then they show up later in the game. So like here, this ship is one of the character Bangalore's her brother actually was in the ship and she crashed, or the ship, excuse me, crashed and her brother was ejected. And so, she's actually looking for her brother in the lore, like behind this in the ship, guarantees that when she comes to this area, whenever she's running around, she actually sees and says, things that might be pertaining to her brother. So like the audio and the voice lines, pertain to the actual characters and stuff that happens in this game, although it's not necessarily a story that someone could follow all the way to the end. As far as movement and variation in this game, the only thing that really forces characters to move, or excuse me, players to move, is the ring. And the ring is basically a wall of fire, essentially, or like a laser wall that comes in, and anything beyond it takes damage. So if players were to essentially stay here and while this zone came in, and it would kill them. So the goal is to get these characters, get the players to rotate as fast as possible to where the next zone would be. And this next zone would, come in as this circle comes in. And so as the players are playing, squads are dying in all of these areas, they're rotating into the zone and their playable area becomes smaller and smaller. And when their playable area becomes smaller and smaller, this allows the players to frequently see each other more or have more engaging fights. And as the game goes on, if there's more engaging fights, well, then you know that the people that you're playing against are going to be either stronger or they're going to be more looted up. And overall, the goal of Apex, of course, is to survive, but the fun is like what the players make out of it. And as I said before, the goal of the level designers is to make a fun and engaging environment. Everyone who comes into Apex Legends has a different way that they want to play it or how they want to experience it. And the level designers here for Stormpoint have really showed us that this game and this level doesn't have to be just about, getting to the end or waiting in a building for so long. There are many ways to traverse this map and many ways to fight and engage with other players. And the level designers have taken care to create environments that are not so repetitive and not too hard to play against other players. These buildings are not too oppressive to hold for a defensive character. This hill is not so crazy pushing it if you play on this side where you have rock cover. And overall, in other versions, or excuse me, other maps of Apex Legends, these have been issues that we have all ran into. And to see Respawn take into account and make changes in such a new map is absolutely amazing. And as a player who has spent and someone who's worked on this game and in this game for production, it just really shows true value and how they care about this. One last thing I want to say is that I'm absolutely over the moon with their choice of a tropical island for the next 3 months coming into the Christmas and holiday season. I know for me and a lot of other gamers who probably just sit around on the computers and stuff like that, like it's nice to have something that isn't dark and sci-fi and almost scary in a sense, or dark colors or anything that just, I don't know, represents the dreariness of winter. So I really appreciate everyone taking the time to watch this video and to learn more about the game that I love, Apex Legends, and to learn about some of the key level design things that we've learned about in single player games, and see how they're replicated in games that are multiplayer. So again, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video. Thank you and have a great day.